I couldn't believe my eyes.
I just can't believe that happened.
That was probably the scariest moment of my life.
Oh my gosh.
Hey guys, this is Greg and Alyssa. This is QNA Pod, where we talk about relationships, being business partners, and everything in between.
Today we are going to talk about something that we never thought would happen to us. And it happened.
Yeah, definitely. So more recently, we've had a few clients that we did weddings for I keep hitting my mic, sorry. So more recently, we've had some clients we've done weddings for that did not want their full gallery or full wedding video public, right? Yeah. So we've always kind of assumed that, we're doing this, this photography, we're doing this video for somebody, they're going to want, their friends, family, and strangers potentially to watch it and, maybe enjoy it, but we're realizing that's not the case for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And one thing about us and the way that we run our business, we always ask before we post videos or photos of our clients. Sure. There's some that don't do that, but I find it's really important because if we would have posted that and they would have seen it, they would have been upset with us.
Yeah, and that could lead to a bad review. Yeah. And I mean, that's something that, once you start getting bad reviews, that's a slippery slope. So yeah, we definitely always get the consent from our clients to post, even if it's a sneak preview, if it's just one image, 10 images, one clip, 60 seconds, whatever. Because the last thing we want to do is post something and somebody goes, oh, I look terrible. Oh, I didn't want that moment public. Or it could be as simple as, hey, can you, maybe adjust the color a little bit or maybe like choose a different song or whatever else. So we always make sure that regardless of what we post, we always check with the client first because we wouldn't want anybody posting something, about us without us kind of like have an idea of what it looks like or whatever, or sounds like. So kind of how we do things as we edit galleries, as we edit specifically, I feel like more so wedding films, is we try to make it something that can be impactful for the couple, where they go, oh, I'm remembering my day. I love that moment, but also entertaining for anybody to watch. They can kind of view this film and feel like, oh, I feel like I know Greg and Alyssa, their wedding day, I can relate to it or, whatever else.
Well, a lot of the videos that we saw before we kind of like jumped into the wedding industry, they were good, but we thought that we could bring something else to the table that maybe a lot of people aren't seeing and aren't getting, which is making a video for everybody to see, really having some really awesome moments and not having it, slow motion and maybe just one song the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with slow motion, but, but like you say, it's, we saw a lot of filmmakers and weddings, specifically, where the entire video is slow motion. Yeah. It's all like sad songs. And of course, for the couple, they're going to love it because it's just, hey, it's a video of my wedding day. I get to have it.
They maybe didn't know that there's other types of videos that you could get.
There's other options out there. And it can be something that, of course, the couple enjoys, but also a random person, can also enjoy, right? We kind of go into weddings, not necessarily like, oh, it's going to be a production, but we want it to really rival a film or what you might see on television or in cinema, right? Of like, hey, this is going to have funny moments. It's going to have emotional moments. It's going to be more than just like, oh, zipping up the dress or putting on my suit jacket. Like we want those moments of maybe just a groomsmen having conversations.
Raw moments.
Yeah. Raw moments and moments that, are going to go, okay, I do remember that little small conversation I had with my dad or with my mom or with, my boy, Josh or, my girl, Ashley, whatever else. So, yeah.
Yeah. But jumping back into the whole reason why we are filming this today is we never thought or never anticipated that a bride or someone would not want us to share those intimate moments.
Yeah.
I will say I was kind of, because it happened at least twice to us now, I was kind of bummed. I really was. I understand from their point of view, but I'm bummed because the whole point of being business owners in an industry like this is you have to have content to show people and to post on social media. And with those being, well, every wedding's great. Every wedding, everything we do is good. So any of them I would have been bummed about.
But these are really good.
Yeah.
These are really good. And I mean, of course, as filmmakers and photographers, right? Like you're going to have those weddings or those events or those, content shoot days, whatever, where you go, oh, this one's a winner, right? Like everything went right. I mean, everything was beautiful. And you're really excited to go, all right, I can't wait to show what we can do.
We captured some really awesome moments.
Yeah, really awesome moments. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm excited because we know what we can do. But obviously, like putting out a film or putting out a gallery is to really show, hey, like here's other people. Show, hey, here's what QNA Media Group can do. And so, while we were bummed out, I kind of understand, I guess, to some extent, because, right, a moment like a wedding that is a very emotional thing, a very like, a milestone type thing. It makes sense that somebody might go, hey, look, I want that just for our viewing, right? And I think that kind of going forward, that's going to be a conversation for us to have with our couples up front before we even get to the wedding day of, okay, hey, look, how do you feel about us making your gallery public or your video public? Like, how do you, like, are you wanting this to not appeal, but to be watchable or viewable by everybody? Or do you want this? Are you going to be
okay if we put this moment in there and we share it to our social media?
For sure.
Just so we know ahead of time and not because we haven't had those conversations yet. And
we haven't
on initial phone calls or anything like that. So definitely a learning moment for us as business owners, because not being able to post that, it sucks.
yeah, for sure. But like I say, I think like when I look at our wedding and when we got married in our gallery, I was excited to show our day, right? For our guests that were there to kind of get to view the pics and go, oh, I grabbed this pic of us. We took a picture at Greg and Alyssa's wedding, but also I know that we have family and friends who couldn't attend, right? Just either because of location or scheduling issues, whatever else, and so. Kind of having that gallery public was a way for us to go, hey, look, here's kind of, I guess, a snapshot of our day. But like I say, I mean, not everybody is going to view things the way we view them. And especially when you're looking at like moments from like a ceremony or things that maybe a priest or pastor said or vows, right? Like that could be something that they go, hey, look, I just want that to myself. And I think like moving forward, maybe we can offer different edits. We can have, hey, here's going to be kind of a, total private, edit just for you, you and your spouse. And then we're going to have maybe something that's tailored for people who didn't attend, who still want to get an idea of what your wedding day, was like, right?
Yeah.
And then same with the gallery. Maybe we can say, hey, look, we're going to, edit your gallery, but maybe this certain section will kind of, make sure this is just for y'all. And, can we post the rest?
And I think for us, we're just so excited. Like these moments are so beautiful and we just want to share them with the world. And
you're crying, huh? No, it's emotional.
I had a brain fart. I was going to say something really good. I forgot.
No. You're good. Hey, it happens. Well, I think like, when I really consider it all, weddings.
Oh, I remember.
In my head, right, when I think about a wedding day, that really is a moment for, of course, you and your spouse to celebrate, but the guests there too, right? Like these are all people who you've invited who, you want them to celebrate with you and see everything. And so I guess when I think of it in its nature, a wedding is kind of a very public thing in some sense, right? Because of course, every couple could like kind of have a private, like courtroom ceremony or whatever else. But, in my head, I go, well, look, you spend so much money on, venue, food, music, this and that. And so, like I say, my assumption was always, okay, well, you're going to want people to really, really showcase your day and really go, hey, look, we get to celebrate with them kind of through the gallery or through.
So it's a party for all your family and friends.
Right.
And I'm gonna say a couple of times on this episode that I'm upset or kind of like bummed out, because I definitely am, but I definitely side with them or anybody who wants that, because I remember for our wedding, I was really gung ho. I do not want to do vows, our own vows in front of people, because I just felt like that's a kind of like sacred moment. Like I don't need a vow to the rest of the world. I just need a vow to you.
Yeah.
So I understand that, like, hey, we're going to do these private vows, but we don't want this in the video.
Yeah.
I get it. I would be the same way. So
For sure.
I understand something like that. And also maybe some parts of like the ceremony, that's sacred moments as well. Having your preacher, pastor pray over you or something, that could be more of like an intimate moment or
For
something,
sure.
you know?
Yeah.
But
Well, I have a question for you, right? So let's say we get a client. Let's say it's just kind of like an inquiry. Hey, we're interested in maybe using you guys. We're not sure yet. And they say up front, hey, look, we want you to photograph our wedding, video our wedding, but you cannot post any picture, any video at all. Like, we don't want anything at all shared.
Oh, my first question would be why?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not coming off to be like,
right.
Why? Like, I'm just curious, like why? I just want to like hear their story and hear their thoughts, because I'm not technically going to try to persuade them. I'm just curious as a business owner, so I can like learn. I don't know. I'm like nothing. Like not even this one picture.
No,
not even this little clip.
Yeah, what if we cut off your faces and we just like kind of like yeah. No, I mean definitely. I mean it's like you say. I think one of the first questions I would have is why. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us kind of your thought process behind it, because maybe we can edit things in a way that, like I say, it does kind of obscure some things or leave some things up to the imagination, or leaves it completely, not nondescript. So, but yeah, like I say, it's definitely our first time experiencing it, but I'm sure there's been other people who have gone through the same thing and just kind of navigated that, because ultimately, the highest honor is somebody booking us in the first place, right? Whether we get to showcase the gallery of film or not, the fact that you sought us out, you enjoyed our work, but then once again, you booked us based on the work that you've seen us put out, right? So, like you say, as a business owner, you go, well, shoot.
It does kind of hinder us, and I don't think people like realize that, especially being such an overly saturated business for like wedding photography, wedding videography. The way we get business is the work that we are able to show. Nobody is going to book somebody who really doesn't have anything to show.
Unless it's free.
Yes.
Which is how we got started. Yeah. But yeah, I see what you mean. But no, like you say, I mean, wedding and, wedding photography, wedding videography is very oversaturated. You throw a rock, you're going to hit a photographer or a videographer, so, but, we look to stand out by what we put out and kind of the way we do it. And, we kind of go for the reality style, documentary style. And so, but yeah, I mean, I'm curious, if you're listening right now, whether you're married or, eventually, if you were to hire a photographer, or videographer, would you want your video public or your gallery public? Would you want it private? We would love to kind of hear some feedback and kind of discuss that on a future episode. Maybe, okay, here's the feedback that we got. Let's talk it out. Let's kind of see what the general consensus is, because I am curious. I wonder how many people or what percentage of people would want it private versus public, because that might, like I said, that might dictate some of our future packages or offerings and kind of how we navigate doing this.
I'd also like to hear stories of maybe people who've already been married or have gotten married and told their photographer or videographer, we don't want that online. And I just want to see how that experience went and how that professional dealt with it. And I would love to hear those stories as well.
For sure. Well, thankfully, the way we do things now in our process is we always do check with the couple. So that way we don't get ourselves in hot water, so.
Well, I've just like seen some things like in contracts, people will put, I'm able to post this.
Right.
And most people don't read their contracts and they're just signing away.
Right.
So I'm like, I would never put that in our contract.
Yeah, definitely.
I do not think,
at least without highlighting
agree
it.
With that.
Yeah, put it in bold. Like, hey, we have the right to post whatever, because like I said, most people are going to want to see something before you post it anyway, just to make sure they're shown in a good light, or their partner or whoever, or they might say, hey, look, you know what? I had this bridesmaid at my wedding. She did something. She backstabbed me. I don't want her to, so like I said, you always want to show them something. But yeah, it's definitely, it was a eye opener for us, right? And just kind of how we operate as business owners. Because I mean, weddings are very private, and it's a very intimate thing. And so you definitely want to make sure you, check with the couple before. So. Yeah. So if you've been married or eventually or dating, whatever else, give us your feedback. We want to know, would you want this private? Would you want to share this with the world? And yeah.
So the other day I was scrolling through one of those wedding pages on Facebook, and somebody posted in there that they were looking for a videographer.
Okay.
But they were very specific on what kind they wanted. They said they want a videographer that's not going to show up and act like it's a full-on production. They were like, we are not filming a reality show. They said, it's a damn wedding. They cussed in it, too.
Jeez.
Somebody must have hurt them.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, how would you, unless you've either attended a wedding or maybe it was like a mom or dad who, when they got married, it was something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they want a videographer, but no full on production.
To me, they just want get one of your friends to stand.
I don't know, right? So I think that, and we do both, right? We do photography and we do video. So photographers typically have a lot less equipment, right?
Yeah.
They show up, they're going to have maybe a few mirrorless body cameras, maybe like an off-camera flash. It is very minimal compared to video, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the assumption is that, okay, well, you should only have your camera on you, maybe a little flash, and that's it. But what people don't realize is that it takes a lot. Like when you watch a video, whether it's a wedding or not, right? And you watch a video of something, it takes a lot to produce that. Even if it looks natural, it looks totally candid, it looks totally whatever else. When it comes to video, there's a lot you have to consider as far as angles, the amount of cameras you need, the lighting. And so even during a wedding, right, there's still gear you need to make a really good film, right? You're talking about not just the video, but the audio. You're talking about, cables and stuff to hook that up to a soundboard or having your camera synced up. A lot of receptions that, we've been to and whatnot, they're usually really dark and dim, or it's some dimly lit thing, which is great for the vibes of the wedding. But as a filmmaker, right, when you're shooting that, if we're just using the camera and that's it and nothing else, and we're not really it's going to be a very dark, scene. And people don't realize that, a lot goes into it. Now, with that being said, we never want to get in the way or distract from like a ceremony or things like that, right? But, even with that being said, there's times where we've had to, at some weddings, stick our tripod kind of in one of the rows to make sure we have a good angle, because ultimately, we never want to go to a couple and say, oh, well, we didn't want to get in the way. We didn't want to da-da-da-da. And that's why your film sucks, right? Or here's why it's not up to par to what you've seen from our previous work. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I view it. What are your thoughts?
Well, there's a way that you do it. And maybe this person experienced somebody who just didn't do it in a way, in a good way. We are not standing in a corner waiting for things to happen. Absolutely not. No matter if we're taking photos, video, we're going to be in every single moment. No, we're not going to be all up in your face the entire time. No. If somebody's standing on the side, not really doing anything, that's our moment. We're going to slide in and be like, hey, you want to do an interview? Or if the bride and the bridesmaids are just chilling, not being rushed, not really doing anything. Yeah, I'm going to slip in. Like, let's have a moment. Let's talk for a second. Like, there's a lot of weddings that do have like wedding planners and are spaced out, and you will have some time like that. So I think this person maybe just had somebody who
kind of ruined it,
came in and was just like directing everything. And no, we don't do that. We will have a lot of equipment. Yes. Shout out to Justin Porter. Shout out. I've watched tons of his videos, and he comes on with the backpacks. He comes on with like everything, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, here's the thing, right? When I think about, video and photo, right? And even from our wedding, right? Like the photographer, so for somebody to say like, hey, we don't want a full-on production. We just want like like there's a lot of moments where a photographer, and rightly so, they're going to be directing you and commanding you the whole day, because ultimately, while it might seem like, oh, I just want to like enjoy my wedding day, I don't want any pose, you're going to get to the end of the night, a send off, and they're going to go, hey, look, we don't have any group photos with your parents, with your family, with your bridesmaids, groomsmen. And you're going to be like, shoot.
Yeah, you're going to want those.
I might never have this many people that are important to me in one room at a time ever again. I should have got those moments. And like I say, and like I say, your photographer is usually the one kind of like directing you throughout the day. Hey, look, I need you here at this time. I need these people. Y'all line up. And it's usually seen as okay, right? It's like, all right, well, yeah, that's the photographer doing their job. But when it comes to video, people don't always view it the same. They view it as, hey, just like
you're in the way.
Yeah, stand in the corner, record this, put it all in slow motion. It's like, hey, if you want that, totally cool. We'll just set up a couple tripods, let it run the whole time at 60 frames a second, and just slow it down.
Like, we shouldn't even be there.
Yeah. We don't have to be there. We can just send some drones and just like record it all in slow motion, right? But it's like, if you want something that's impactful, that, has some replay value because, you know, we don't want you to just watch your film one time and then, you know, you just throw the file on your phone and that's it. Or, you know, it's like we want this to be something that you can watch, you know, every year, right? Every month, whatever, right? On your anniversary. And for that to happen, we've got to put in moments, like you say, where we grab some interviews from, you know, maybe a bridesmaid or maybe like, you know, dad of the groom or mom of the bride. And that takes a lot of intentional planning and a lot of intentional action to pull them aside. Whereas if we weren't doing that, you're going to go, well, shoot, like I said, all I got is just these videos from some corner angle and it's not really, there's no audio, there's no good lighting of it. And it's like, well, that's not what we're going to deliver, you know? So I would say for a client like that, that has that sort of mindset, that'd be a conversation starter. Okay, you know, hey, tell us why, right? Why do you view video as, oh, we don't want this full on production, we just want da-da-da-da, because there's probably a story, probably a story behind that, you know. And like I say, we're here not just to film your wedding, but to educate you on kind of how the process works. And the more we can prepare people of, okay, here's how we work, here's how we do things, whether it's photo or video, that gives them the right expectations of, okay, I know how Greg and Alyssa work.
Yeah.
And so on my wedding day, I know if I'm sitting there talking to my bridesmaid and they're in the room, they might say, hey, look, hold on.
Yeah.
Have that conversation again, maybe, or hey, let me kind of get a different angle and y'all talk about that again, because it's going to be a great moment in that film.
Oh, yeah. We do direct too. We don't just sit there and, like we said multiple times, and I mean, we're not in anybody's faces, but we do interact with guests, with the venue workers. We interact with everybody. Like, we are there to get those raw moments out because the weddings are stressful.
Yeah,
and so we're there to pump you up. Hey, let's get it out. Like, if I'm seeing you girls over there taking shots, wait, do it again. Let's
take one more.
take one more. Let's loosen you up. You know?
Yeah. And I mean, and for a lot of people, you know, there's gonna be moments that feel awkward of like, oh, I don't want to be, you know. But it's like, hey, look, you know, what we remind people of is, hey, you've got this one day, you've got this one moment, and of course you're going to have it in your head, right? But if we can capture this, you know, you can just kind of get comfortable and just trust us. It's going to pay off in the end, and you're going to go, wow, I'm so glad I, you know, decided to get mic'd up real quick and just talk with the groom or talk with best man or whoever else, because, you know, like you say, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you may haven't, you know, have seen that person in years, and you're going to go, oh, I'm so glad they got that moment in my film, you know, because weddings, I mean, that's one of the big parts of it, is that you have all these people who've made an impact on you, you know, under one roof or one sky. And you get to, you know, maybe have these moments where you get a snapshot, a picture with them, or a picture of them having a conversation with maybe one of your other friends, or, you know, whatever else.
And of course, we always want to get the shot. Like, we have so many shots in our brain every time we go into anything that we want to shoot. Like, we have a shot list.
Yeah.
It does not work out that way.
Yeah.
If there is ever a moment where this has never happened to me, like, I'm usually with the brides.
Yeah.
So I have never really had anyone say, like, hey, can you step out? Or, like, I don't want you to film this.
Right.
They want me there. They want that moment filmed. So obviously I'm not in anybody's way. No one's told me anything yet, and I'm still able to get the shot. So
yeah, and I mean, and I mean, with, like I say, with video specifically, you really kind of have to record so much because, you know, let's say we have a 10-hour wedding, we might have, you know, hours of footage. I mean, we're talking huge files, but you've got to trim that down and maybe pull out a 15-minute film that makes sense, that's cohesive. And so to get there, for every 15 minutes of edit, you know, you need 5 hours of footage, right? And so there's going to be moments where you feel like, oh, they're doing too much, right? Like, why are you filming this? You know,
or why am I still mic'd up? Yeah, can I take this off?
Can I please take this? And it's like, hey, look, I know. It's like, hey, look, I know you've been, you know, mic'd up for an hour or two, but a little bit longer, because we might, you know, get a little moment where you do something that's really funny or really emotional.
And you're going to love to have that moment.
And you're going to love to have that, you know, and you just got to like push through it a little bit, right? And so, like I say, like most things, when it comes to these like objections or challenges of, okay, hey, I want a videographer, I want a photographer, but I don't want this, and this. It's our job to educate, you know, and even if, you know, sometimes it's, hey, we're not the right team for you, right? Because we know ultimately what our end goal is and what we want your film to look like. But if you don't have that same vision, that's totally cool. Like we mentioned earlier, you throw a rock, you're gonna hit a photographer, a videographer.
Well,
So
and it's their job and our job as the professionals to build that relationship with your client so they do feel comfortable with you to be like, hey, you know, back up for a second. We're gonna have this moment, or like they can tell you like, hey, I don't want this to be filmed, so they can tell you up front so they won't complain about you later.
Yeah. No. And that's key, right? Like we want to make sure we communicate and we encourage our clients to communicate with us as well.
And I think we do that very, very well. Like I'll hear you constantly like checking in with the groom. You look good. Like, you're mic'd up. Your mic's still good. You need anything? And I'm doing the same thing. Like it's the band around your leg. You're okay. Like I think we're never going to get that critique.
Hopefully not. I mean, we want things to be functional, right? So like I say, if we're going to use a light or use a microphone, it's because we're very intentional about it. Like we know this is a moment, like obviously if it's 9 p.m., your reception's almost over an hour, you don't have to be mic'd up for that, right? You're on the dance floor, you're dancing. We're not going to use any audio from that because there's music, but if it's, hey, we're in a room getting ready, or about to get ready soon, and we're just kind of like chilling, we might want to mic you up for that because there's probably some good moments happening where you're gonna want that in your film, And so, like I said, I mean, while there are moments that we definitely are like, hey, look, we're gonna need this, and this to make this moment work. Most of the day we're pretty laid back,
and most of the time when we do direct, we keep it fun, we keep it light. We're still letting you enjoy your time, but still directing you so that we get our shot.
Yeah.
So it's not completely staged.
Yeah. We don't do like scripted. No.
Here's your script. Say just like this.
Yeah. It's not VH1, right? But we do, while we don't give scripts, we do guide people, right? We do give prompts, right? Because sometimes just simply saying, tell us what's on your mind right now, that's enough. And then we let them kind of speak their hearts, right?
We ask them a few questions.
Exactly.
Get people talking.
It gets the juices flowing. And then they go, okay, cool. While I was nervous at first, you asked me this question and now I'm going.
They're like, wait, let me add this. And
okay. And I'm like, you got it. You're natural. Yeah. You should go on VH1, right? So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell, kind of how I would handle those situations. Have the conversation with the client. Hey, why do you feel like you don't want this? Tell me more about that. And then 2, educate them on how we work. And then 3, see if we're a good fit. And if we're not, that's cool. Find somebody else that's going to suit kind of what you're looking for. But if they approached us and say, hey, look, we like you guys. We like your work. We're going to say, hey, well, look, behind that video, there was some production, that went into it. So like I say, like most things, when it comes to these like objections or challenges of, okay, hey, I want a videographer, I want a photographer, but I don't want this, and this. It's our job to educate, and even if, sometimes it's, hey, we're not the right team for you, right? Because we know ultimately what our end goal is and what we want your film to look like. But if you don't have that same vision, that's totally cool. Like we mentioned earlier, you throw a rock, you're going to hit a photographer, a videographer.
Well, and it's their job and our job as the professionals to build that relationship with your client so they do feel comfortable with you to be like, hey, back up for a second. We're going to have this moment, or like they can tell you like, hey, I don't want this to be filmed, so they can tell you up front so they won't complain about you later.
Yeah. No. And that's key, right? Like we want to make sure we communicate and we encourage our clients to communicate with us as well.
And I think we do that very, very well. Like I'll hear you constantly like checking in with the groom. You look good. Like, you're mic'd up. Your mic's still good. You need anything? And I'm doing the same thing. Like it's the band around your leg. You're okay. Like I think we're never going to get that critique.
Hopefully not. I mean, we want things to be functional, right? So like I say, if we're going to use a light or use a microphone, it's because we're very intentional about it. Like we know this is a moment, like obviously if it's 9 p.m., your reception's almost over an hour, you don't have to be mic'd up for that, right? You're on the dance floor, you're dancing. We're not going to use any audio from that because there's music, but if it's, hey, we're in a room getting ready, or about to get ready soon, and we're just kind of like chilling, we might want to mic you up for that because there's probably some good moments happening where you're going to want that in your film, And so, like I said, I mean, while there are moments that we definitely are like, hey, look, we're going to need this, and this to make this moment work. most of the day we're pretty laid back, pretty.
And most of the time when we
minimal.
do direct, we keep it fun, we keep it light. We're still letting you
Right.
enjoy your time,
Right.
but
right.
still directing you so that we get our shot.
Yeah.
So it's
for
not
sure.
completely staged.
Yeah. We don't do like scripted. No.
No,
but
here's your script. Say just like this.
Yeah. It's not VH1, right? But we do, while we don't give scripts, we do guide people, right?
yeah.
We do give prompts, right? Because sometimes just simply saying, tell us what's on your mind right now, that's enough. And then we let them kind of speak their hearts,
Or
right?
we ask them a few questions.
Exactly.
Get people talking.
It gets the juices flowing, and then they go, okay, cool. While I was nervous at first, you asked me this question and now I'm going.
They're like, wait, let me add this. And I'm like, okay.
And I'm like, you got it. You're natural. Yeah. You should go on VH1, right? So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell, kind of how I would handle those situations. Have the conversation with the client. Hey, why do you feel like you don't want this? Tell me more about that. And then 2, educate them on how we work. And then 3, see if we're a good fit. And if we're not, that's cool. Find somebody else that's going to suit kind of what you're looking for. But if they approached us and say, hey, look, we like you guys. We like your work. We're going to say, hey, well, look, behind that video, there was some production,
Oh, yeah.
that went into it. So. Hey guys, this is Greg and Alyssa with QNA Pod. Thanks so much for tuning in today. If you want to follow us on socials, you can at QNA Pod or visit our website, QNAnetwork.com.